shine out over the Eiffel Forest beyond. We've got a packed grid of cars, 36 coming out to play here, and the temperature stayed relatively low all day, 18.5 degrees, about as warm as we've seen at air temperature. Track temperature actually hasn't really got much above that either, but the humidity's fallen away. Now we've set for an hour of racing with the driver change in the middle, the mandatory pit stops, and how these shake out we will wait to see. But let's in no time at all go down to the grid and join Alex Legui down with our pole sitter Stanislav Safronov. He put a Pro-Am class car onto pole.
Well, here you are on overall pole position. What a place to do it at. That was a lot of pace that you got out of this car, but can you convert that to race pace?
Let's see if Stas can do it. He pulled an amazing lap. Everything was perfect. Let's hope we do same well in the race.
You've got a lot of pressure around you, but feeling confident?
I am, but I'm not in the car.
You will be. Have a good race.
Thank you very much.
Keeping it short down there, but waiting to see. First of two races, just emphasise that. Of course, we had the two qualifying sessions, one after another, to define the grids. Fantastic drone shots. Boy, how this art comes on. Look at the artistry of those shadows there. Either people are 5 meters tall or I'm looking at the wrong bit of the shadow. But anyhow, great views down on the circuit. So, Joe, what are you thinking ahead of this race? We've got two Aston Martins on the front row. Then we've got a McLaren with Josh Rattican. An Audi from Greg Gilbert, a Toyota from Jan Duran as well, getting into the mix. Well, plenty of variety from the manufacturers at the front end.
Yeah, I think we need to keep our eyes on Gilbert into turn one. On the second row in that predominantly green Audi R8 from Speedcar. We've seen the straight line speed of the Audi just to the right of your shot there. That's going to be strong into one, and it is a long run into turn one.
Well, one car that came here well placed in the points at second, it's Eric Evans in the number 61 Ford.
Right, you boys have a real opportunity to keep this championship alive. You need to finish ahead of the Audi. How are you feeling back here?
Oh, I feel good. I think we have a really strong race car. I mean, obviously, just gotta let the race come to us as we can. But I feel like we're in a good spot here.
Yeah, it feels like it. How's the car feeling today?
Oh, it feels really good. You know, we did a lot of work on it last night, and we rocked up this morning to qualify, and the car just felt amazing. Thanks to Academy and all the boys thinking about it all night. So I think I feel like we're in a really good spot here.
Rather unusually, it's very sunny and it doesn't look like it's going to rain. Would you like to be doing a bit of a rain dance? Could that work in your favour? Or are you happy for it to stay clear?
I'm happy for it to stay clear. I mean, I think this car is really good in the wet as well, but I'm more than happy for it to stay clear and let it be a real sprint race.
All right, have a good start.
Thank you.
So that's Eric Evans, who'll be starting the best place of the Fords in 6th place on the third row. But it's a Pro-Am class car with Stanislav Safronov, Mirage Racing Aston Martin. Not only on the front row, in pole position ahead of a sister Aston Martin, but from a rival team. It's the number 39 car that will start alongside with Clement Seiler, who's the best of the pro qualifiers when the silver class cars went out for their qualifying session before the Pro-Ams and the Ams went out. But Aston Martin, two cars on the front row, totally looking different in their appearance because they're race liveries, and tucked in behind the McLaren of Elite Motorsport.
Yeah, talking about the McLaren, they looked a bit panicked, the team on the grid there. I hope everything's okay with this Elite Motorsport McLaren.
Well, let's go down to the grid because the championship leaders by a country mile are down in 7th. Let's hear from Benjamin Lariche.
Right, so you're starting from P6. You need to finish 77 points clear to clinch that title. How confident are you feeling from P6?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I'm not thinking about the championship. I'm just thinking to make a good start. Okay. Yes, and to don't be on the crash, and yes, just focus on my driving to be smart, and we'll see what's happened.
All right, well, we're thinking about the championship, and we're very excited by it.
yeah, I'm so, but each race is the same, where you have to push your maximum of your potential, so it's not change nothing, and we'll see at the end of the race.
Fair play. Have a good one.
I defy anybody, even if they're sitting on a Let's do the maths here. Jones, a 79-point championship lead, 161 against 82. You still think of the first corner at the Nürburgring, especially if you're starting on the pit wall side as Benjamin Lariche is. You can see his car fourth in that line on the left-hand side of the grid. And the corner funnels down. It tightens to the right and tightens some more towards the exit of the corner. But right now, in the bright, bright sunshine, it's his car, number 007 on the windscreen. You can see LAR Lariche as it flicks on and off that yellow, blue, pink and red Audi. But the colours all the way down the grid. The Borusan Automotive BMWs a little further back. You'd expect them down on about the 6th row. Let's go down and hear from Hendrik Still in car number 32.
Right, here we are, right in the mix, but certainly fighting for that title win this weekend. How is it to be this far back? You're obviously still in the front of your pack, but in the thick of it at the Nürburgring? Of all places.
Yeah. I mean, so for us, it's not so easy, especially because Safranov on pole position. So they are 26 points behind us now in the championship after their pole position. So yeah, we need to scrap some points to hold the lead in the championship. This is the most important. I don't expect that we have the pace today to attack them. But overall, let's hope for a good race for us.
All right, have a great race. Thank you.
So that was the voice of Hendrik Still, who came here leading the Pro-Am title battle by 26 points. It's now 27 points, now down to 26, because of course the car on pole is the chasing Stanislav Safronov Mirage Racing Aston Martin. I got the extra point for pole position. There it is, sitting on pole position, the black, white and red Aston Martin on the left of your screen. The leading Pro Class or Silver Class car is Clement Seiler on the right-hand side in the more traditional Aston Martin green and the long-standing yellow lipstick around the grille, if you will. And we have plenty of racing ahead of us. An hour of racing, and let's hope they stay off. We had to have curb repair on the exit of turn 16. Let's hope they don't agitate that. But with a field as big as this, Joe Osborne, there's every opportunity for someone to go a little bit wide back there.
Yeah, and they're looking to maximise any lap time in such a competitive field, such as European GT4. And this long shot we're going to get into turn 1, we've got to look for the concertina effect. It's the highest speed point of the track into the slowest corner of the lap. So we see lots of drama there, and it's going to kick off. It's just where and to what degree.
Absolutely so, but we heard from Benjamin Lariche, starting 7th, dominant champion leader. He shares with Robert Consani, and they've just had a phenomenal run of success this year. 4 wins in the bag for them. The next most wins in class is Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti. There's Ford starting in 6th place, but it's still the run down to this first corner that always leads to incident. And if you don't get it right in turn 1, you may actually have a chance to get it right in turn 2. If not, try turn 3 at the final roll of the dice. How about turn 4? That complex is just so complicated. Let's take a look at the grid. Stanislav Safronov, pole, and from the Pro-Am Class 2, respectable run for him. 2nd place is Clement Seiler. Then we got the McLaren of Josh Ratican and Gregory Gilvert. Jan Durand going well in his Toyota, and Eric Evans 2nd in the championship in his Ford. Championship leader Benjamin Lariche starts 7th. Hendrik Still leading the Pro-Am Championship in 8th overall. Good run from Roberto Freire in the 2nd Mirage Aston Martin. Luke Ibanez alongside. Then Edwin Hellstein and Nova Racing Porsche, and Schubert Motorsport alongside. Pedro Ibrahim in the better place, the BMWs from Borusan. Sister car just diagonally back in 16th overall. Gabriela Gilkova, her teammate Cindy Goudet has been going well. Nathan Van Springel, expected a bit more from him in his Ford. He may find pace. And ever popular Stefan D'Asti with the one Lotus in the field starts in 19th place. Behind young Callum Davis having a bash, and Max Kronberg alongside him. David Coolman in his Aston Martin starts 23rd. Benjamin Lassen, expect that one to come forward. That BMW always advances up through the field, and looking for other faces in places further down the grid than they want. Gustavo Xavier would have expected more. He's down in 27th. Marco Fulgencio moves into the NM Racing Team's other car, one of their 3 cars, new face there as well. Davide Miloni showing with his father, starts towards the back. Just ahead of Anthony Deban, who's had a lot of success and is actually leading for Giselle Technology course in the AM class. We get to the back of the grid, 38 cars in all, and the one that would attract all the attention in India is Ajith Kumar, actor but very keen motor racer. He brings up the rear of this grid, 38 cars on their formation lap. And it's going to be quick fire. It's going to be not just who gets into turn 1 first, it's going to be who gets out of the 4th corner before the field really opens out and drops down towards the hairpin at turn 8. But conditions, Joe, absolutely spot on.
Yes, a perfect evening to go motor racing, isn't it? As we're on board with our 38th car. Car number 2, And just looking here to see what they can do there from the start.
Yeah. All attention. Riding on board car number 317, one of the higher numbered cars in the field. This is the car driven by Anthony Debarn and Jean-Mathieu Leandre, who will take the second pass of the race. They are leading the AM category overall, but not by a lot. Daniel Blickel and Max Kronberg in their WS Motorsport Porsche are not too many points behind. 19 points down behind, to be precise, and points to be gained because they're starting further up the grid. But outright, it's Consani and Arij, 161 points. It's a giant, giant lead. They're starting 7th. Signoretti and Evans only one position behind in the championship, but as you can see, 79 points in the rear. They're only one position ahead. So yes, if they stay in that order, they'll gain a few points, but Consani and Lariche can put it to bed, the 2025 championship this weekend, if they keep it neat, if they keep it tidy. Car 32 riding on board that one as well, and that is one of the WNS Motorsport cars. It's Hendrik Still, Joachim Bolting. They are leading the Pro-Am class. Will they still be there in the championship lead at the end of this race? Because their closest rivals are starting from pole position. Stanislav Safronov, there it is, SAF and 001 flashing on the screen. And I think the onboard footage from any of the cars at the front of the grid will need revisiting after the start of the race to explain what may or may not have happened. But a final sweep through onto the start-finish race, an hour of racing up ahead of us. The clock is still at 1 hour to go, and as soon as the lights go green, and out they go. And we have contact. Unfortunately, some people anticipated the start. One of the Toyotas had a bit of a clash, and Safronov will lead down into turn 1, and it's Consani, it's Lariche's car, the championship leader, the runaway championship leader that's had contact. That is slowly going down towards turn 1. There it is. It's got it hooked up. It looks like it's running a little bit squirrely. So certainly, who was immediately behind on the grid?
It was Faria that hit him.
Yeah, Faria did effectively a wheelie, but what we've had is a real charge from the Toyota to get up into second place overall. That's Jan Duran, but I'd like several looks back at the start of the race to find out what happened just around about 7th or 8th position on the grid.
What was Lariche's final words on the grid to Alex? It was, "I don't want any contact," and that is exactly what's happened even before the start line. It's been a great start from that Toyota as one of the Porsches skips along the gravel there. The 24 car does well. We've got a yellow flag out. I think that's for various instances at the moment as we go on board the 317 and safety car. So everyone will slow down, no overtaking. It's still kicking off into turn 8.
Right, we've got some people who've made incredible gains in that sort of sort-out. We've got Victor Bouveng, who went from about 12th up to 5th place in his BMW. And unfortunately for Kuhlmann, that car is going no far further at all in this race. So that was one of the ones, but that is contact. That looks like it's about turn 2. Bodywork rubbing. In fact, I thought we'd have more damage to the tail of Consani's car. We've got another car off in the background. One of the Mustangs is off, so it's all been a little bit too busy. Yeah,
that's the number 1 Mustang, isn't it? Lariche needs to slow down. There's a safety car, so there's no rush. He's not going to go lap down like he would have if it stayed green, but that tyre's going to start to do bodywork damage, and that could result in a DNF. He just needs to nurse the car back. They get another tyre on it. They'll catch the train, and then they can fight forward. This isn't all done yet for the Audi in this first race here at Nürburgring.
No, but just to reiterate, they had a 79-point advantage, nearly twice the score of the next best place crew in the Silver Cup Championship. Eric Evans, Marco Signoretti were their closest rivals, only 2 points clear of Berkay Bessler, Gabriele Piana in their Borissan Automotive BMW, and certainly at the moment, suddenly Eric Evans will be going, what happened around me? Let's take a look at the replay at the start. The lights are still red, and already we had people accelerating. I'm afraid it looks like Roberto Ferreira went before the lights flicked to green. And up front, of course, Stanislav Safronov was very pleased no one came past him. The 2 Aston Martins down into the first corner, side by side. Eric Evans up to 4th place, but it was the Toyota of Jan Duran that moved up into 2nd place overall. But there was the contact. Wait for it, and there it comes. No. Oh, well, he went out and then ducked back in again. He obviously thought, I've jumped, and then just delayed it. And, well, no blame attached to Benjamin Lariche. He was the unfortunate recipient of contact. Then down into turn 1 a few. The Borissan Automotive BMW is making great ground, but most notably Victor Bouveng, by there, he's up from 12th place to about 6th, and he gained another one in his BMW just shortly thereafter, but just enough was done by Stanislav Safronov to stay at the front. Now, talk us through this replay of the replay.
So the Aston tries to anticipate. He has to go there because he would have gone in the back, but then he tries to go back into his position, but he's overlapping with Lariche. I can't give him an excuse there from a driver's perspective. It's just heat of the moment. He's realised he shouldn't be in the middle of the track. He's worried he's going to get a penalty for not being over the grid boxes and tries to go back to the grid box, but there was an Audi R8 GT4 car of Lariche there, and look at the damage to that left side of the car. I hope it is just a tyre and no suspension damage.
Yeah, the fleeting look we had at the back of the car, you couldn't see any particular bodywork damage. Clearly there was the puncture, but let's hope, as you say, that is all there is. So coming into the pit lane for him, but we are behind the safety cars, so he's not squandering as much time as he would, but he dropped right to the back of the field. Another car sitting in there. In fact, that's his assailant, isn't it? That's Roberto Frere's Mirage Racing Aston Martin. So now, of course, the safety car group at the moment, to let you know where it is, they're just exiting turn 8. It's the hairpin. They're starting to come up towards the Schumacher S. How fast can they affect this repair? Is it simply a punctured tyre? They can replace it. They're working on the front.
On the right side, I wonder if the car, obviously the main damage is on the left side, and looks like they've got more damage than we saw, but all the contact was on the opposite side of the car.
Yeah, absolutely, to my mind. So the field is getting up towards turn 11. Can they get the repairs done and get him back out onto the track so that he can rejoin it? We don't know how long the safety car is going to go. He would have a chance to close in a bit, but I mean, he's
got about 35 seconds to be rolling, because they will put a red light on pit exit as the safety car is at the last corner. This was the corner with the damage, and maybe they had another puncher, but they need to be quick. And where they are on the championship, just throw a tyre on it and send it out. And if it's still broken, then go a lap down. At the moment, they need to get this car out so it stays on the lead lap, but it doesn't seem to be a huge amount of urgency. And here we can see the pack coming up to the final chicane, and yeah, this car is going to go a lap down if it isn't moving in the next 15 seconds. And actually, that's day done, isn't it? You could see the driver getting out, so there's more damage than what we could see on the cameras. And yeah,
they're the only crew in the championship that could afford a non-score, because they're sitting on such a gargantuan points lead. They could have wrapped it up here this weekend, of course, the 2 races, but for Benjamin Lariche, who just got out, and Robert Consani, who's standing there having a look, not really quite sure what to think. Anybody else in the chasing pack, they could not afford a non-score. Stefano Telly down there in the mix, talking to the crew as well. Le Mans winner, don't forget. But right now, well, recipient of someone else's over-enthusiasm, I think we can say. So had they managed to get out at the front of the pack, they would be able to start catching up, and they would have made up some of the ground. It would never propel them towards the front of the race, but at least it might have kept them somewhere in the mix. You never know, there might be a further safety car period later in this event. Let's hope not. This is a high view looking down on turn 1, but the damage was done long before the field got here.
Yeah, it was that turn 1 move from the Borissan automotive car, Pedro Ibrahim. He timed it perfectly on the brakes, and interestingly, no red light on pit exit. Typically, the exit light goes red when the safety car's train is there to stop this awkwardness of a car being released into the pack, unless Faria has gone through a red light. But they're the 2 cars that are involved, and the aggressor is the one that does get out of pit lane.
Well, we've had the contact on the start-finish line, and it was Benjamin Lariche who was hit. We've caught up with him.
Oh, Benjamin, my goodness me, you were a sitting duck there. Can you talk us through what happened from your perspective?
I don't know, because I was put the throttle, and someone behind me touched me, hit me. So I don't know. I will check the video, and we'll see what's happened. And but now the race is over. We have to focus to the race 2 now, and yes, we can just do that.
Thank you.
You don't need even to look at that image. You can sense from just the sound of his voice how the shoulders are down. But at the replay, the lights are still on red when Roberto Freire tucks out from behind. But his mistake, as you pointed out, Joe, was to try and nip back into position rather than just staying in that middle slot, just not getting in front of the number 33 Audi. He 32 Audi backed it off. But you know, for Consani and Lariche, well, you know, it's a bad one, but they've built such an enormous championship lead. They can actually afford it. And I can't think of many times in the GT4 European Series history anybody's had such a large points lead. So I guess take it on the chin a little bit. Eric Evans is the leading driver in the championship behind them, because his car, even 79 points down, is running in 6th place overall, may be able to gain a few points, but it's not something you could do hand over fist in this championship. It's been the sort of continued excellence of Consani and Lariche with 4 wins in the bag that have put them to the front of the field. Evans and Signoretti have bagged 2, so they've shown race-winning pace. But so as it stands at the moment, it means they no points for Lariche and Consani. They stay on 161. Signoretti and Evans, if they stay where they are, will go on to 94. And Jan Duran and Hadrian David have gained quite a bit. And bear in mind, their car is on pole for the second of the races after a brilliant lap by Hadrian in the Toyota. So things moving around a bit, but basically Consani and Lariche, frustration for them, but they are in a very, very good position in their number 3 Audi.
Yeah, the only thing worth adding, I guess, is the Academy Mustang in second championship also had a DNF now, so that's fair. There was also Innocent. They got assaulted at Spa, didn't they, at turn 1? So there's a bit of a common theme there. But yeah, I'd like to know what the damage is on the Audi. And next time that car's out is straight into race 2 as well. They may do the hardship lap, something introduced this year. So at the start of each day, any category racing at the weekend can go out to check the car, and yeah, that's how he's going to spend the rest of the race. So he's going to watch the replay. It'd be amazing to see his face, because what Farrier's done to him is what I want to do to people on the road when they cut me up and I just want to turn hard into them and hit them, and that's essentially what's been done. There's a slight contact. The Porsche's that damage to the front right corner. I'd be surprised, but yeah, all the damage done, and there's the start line. Haven't even started the race before it was done.
Yeah, the Porsche that had to squeeze past was finding diminishing returns there. But for Benjamin Lariche, I mean, it's just such a deflation. He must have come here qualifying only 7th. Peter thought, that's fine, I'll just gather a few points, and that's literally the championship in the bag. There he goes, walking out to take a look at his car. Looks
or is he going towards the Aston Martin garage?
I don't know what you're thinking, Joe. So the Maserati safety car leads the field around, and it is. Let's go down the order. Stanislav Safronov ahead of Jan Duran, so it's Aston Martin ahead of Toyota. Now this is okay, that's the reaction of a driver who's been hit on the grid by someone that someone who'd done nothing wrong, but by someone who certainly had done something wrong, someone who anticipated the start and tried to duck back in behind, and unfortunately you cannot move a car, it cannot disappear. So there was the clash, and the frustration clear to be seen. Let's hope the damage is not as much as, well, we can't gauge. We thought it was just a puncture. We worried a bit of bodywork damage on the back, perhaps a whole lot more than we could see.
Yeah, and even maybe the puncher's damaged more than we thought on the way in. It can catch a wheel speed sensor on the corner as the safety car lights are now out. So safety car will be in this lap. So we will go back racing, and Safronov controlling the pack. When will he go? He's backing everyone up. So he's going to have to bide his time here. I wouldn't want to go so early, but it looks like he's dropped the hammer already. And this is going to be a long run now. We're not even in sector 3, and he's already dropped the hammer.
Yeah, and the driver giving chase is Jan Duran. His car shared with Hadrian David. David's put it on pole tomorrow. They've had 3 second places, and with Consani and Lariche out of the race, mistake there from Safronov. This is an opportunity, and the McLaren is look as well with Josh Ratic. One thing, guys, you cannot overtake, but you can get as close as you can possibly to the car ahead. So first 6 cars, first 10 cars, absolutely nose to tail. Now, of course, the explosion of drivers getting out of line. Clement Seiler trying to go past Josh Ratic and getting the job done up into 3rd place, but the Aston Martin's very, very good in a straight line. Plenty of torque for them. And Clement Seiler going to the outside line, got terribly close to the tail of Jan Duran's Toyota, and I think actually went wider than he wanted to do, but now he's up the inside, so the move on Josh Ratican is completed. And can Josh fight back? He's got his nose in front, but he's on the outside line into turn 3. No, he's pulled across the nose. That was a neat and tidy. Brilliant, brilliant drone shots as we look down. Oh dear, Clement Seiler being given a push and a shove. Well, it often happens there. So from about 12th on the grid, we've now got Victor Bouvet in 4th place in his BMW. It's astonishing.
He's going to get a penalty for that. I would give the position back to the Aston if I were him, because that was a bumper run. As it kicking off here, still against the inside of Gilbert in the Audi, and one of the Borison cars trying to go all the way around the outside. That's a mega move at 6. But I think a few of these drivers forgot they're on cold tyres. No tyre runs at the start of the race. They only did 400 metres of push, then behind the safety car, and that's what caught Safronov off into the chicane. And luckily for him, no one can overtake, so it bunched everyone up. And originally we saw a great restart, and it then started to go wrong for that Aston Martin at the front of this pack.
I must say, I did worry a moment ago. It was clearly everybody driving to the back of a team speed car Audi. Gilbert just managing to escape, but you can see up there the number 32 Porsche bouncing over the curves and losing position there. You try and gain, but 2, 3, 4 abreast doesn't always work around here. One of the McLarens squeezing its way through. That's 8-12. That's the RAFA Racing by RaceLab entry, but frantic racing. But importantly for Stanislav Safronov, he's just got a little bit of a margin, and various other cars have dropped down a little bit as well. As you get winners, you get losers, but it's certainly fantastic racing. And the big loser there was number 32, the car that's been so well placed and actually leading in the Pro-Am Championship. And Hendrik still getting very busy indeed, trying to hang on to position there.
Yeah, his move on the inside, and he was trying to back out of that as best as he could. Lassen there, but just couldn't get on the anchors enough, slight bit of contact, and they're going to take the fight into one. You don't know where to look. There's battles everywhere. Everyone seems super revved up this evening. They've been waiting for this race to go, slightly delayed. Where to look? It looks like the BMW trying to go around the outside. Here's Hendrik still a lot further back than he'll want to be. He'll want to stop this tide as the McLaren goes in deep.
Yeah, that actually possibly helped still, because it went right across the nose of the BMW, but still in that aquamarine-nosed Porsche. You can see it second in that group. We're looking down on as they go through turn 2. The tail is out. The dog is happy, but the car should not be wagging its tail. Manages to call it back in. So you're quite right, Joe. It's ambition over tyre temperature at this point.
Yeah, it really is. And still was trying to go around the outside on the dirty part of the track, and it really went there. And battles all the way down. You can see Jilkova trying to get there. Modica on the Ginetta. He's trying to go around the outside there now. Everyone still seems pumped up, trying to run side by side. It's calmed down slightly, the amount of little bits of contact, but someone runs wide there. That was the McLaren, wasn't it, of Davis? And that's given Lassen a run down the hill into 8.
Certainly has, and it's been a horror story for Hendrik still. He was the car out in the gravel there. He's managed to haul it back in down to turn 8. There you can go. You can see being challenged by a rival Porsche driver, and for everybody, every pack seems to have dust kicked up into its face. Right, this is the Schumacher S going up the hill. Really slippery a lot of time. Yeah, they've already got the pile of gravel there waiting to really cause trouble on the exit of the corner. With every lap, it's getting worse. And I tell you what, with every lap, our race leader, Stanislav Safronov, is just trying to edge clear, 0.6 of a second clear at the front of the field. Nobody else has the luxury of a 0.6 of a second gap. It's nose to tail stuff here. Race 1 of 2. How many cars will we get here for race 2? That's the big question. Right, car number 32, Hendrik still. He ran face full of gravel and then ran off himself in avoidance. Yeah, he was obviously fixated on Davis, and he ran wide, so he did the same, and start to worry about some damage to radiators. Even tyres can get cut. Some of the bits of gravel can be sharp enough to puncture a tyre. As we go to the lead battle, there's the gap you were talking about for Safronov. David now has got Ratican behind him, and looks like he's closing. Looks like the pace is good. Seiler having to fend now from Bouveng. Is he going to get a penalty for the contact earlier on in this race? Eric Evans sat there in the grandstand seat, will want to get involved for the points, but won't want to get involved in the contact. Now, was that Seiler handing the position back? Because, sorry, not Seiler, getting it back, maybe a little back off there from Victor Bouveng. I think that's what happened, but certainly the Aston Martins look very punchy out of turn 17 up the start-finish road. We've got an Aston Martin leading the race, of course, in Stanislav Safronov. Where is the move going to come from Jan Durand? But right now, Durand, going out of the top of your screen, is being pushed very, very hard indeed by Josh Ratican, the yellow and black Elite Motorsport McLaren, looking very handy indeed. But he's got to find a gap if he's going to go for something. Everybody else in a battle of their own. Yep, starting to calm down, isn't it? Everyone finding their pace-wise, and of course, everyone was on the grid where they qualified, but race cars sometimes don't qualify like they race, so you can potentially have a very good qualifying car, and it doesn't have the race pace. And you say that's what's happened to Hendrik still, as Henry David is having to defend. Is he going to ease Ratican up on the exit? Leaves him enough space. It's going to be Ratican's corner now, because it's going to go to the left for the Schumacher. He's not so polite, is he? Back to the Toyota, squeezed them over, and yeah, I was surprised there that the Toyota didn't run the McLaren out wider. Yeah, thanks, but not thanks that much. But up into second place comes Josh Ratican. Now, let's see what Jan Durand can do in behind. But during that moment, Clement Seiler got a little bit closer in the second of the Aston Martins. He's in 4th place overall. Victor Bouveng, I think, probably sensed that a penalty might be coming his way. Hold on. No investigation necessary for an incident between car number 98, of which we were just speaking, which is the Schubert Motorsport car of Victor Bouveng, the BMW, and Clement Seiler's Aston Martin. So because the position was handed back, they can put that in the not pending in tray anymore.
Yeah, smart move by Bouveng there. Eventually, maybe he would have done it slightly sooner. Maybe the team told him, we've seen it on TV, there's no getting away from it. The evidence is there. Ratikkonen looks like the man on the move now, doesn't he? Cleared that Toyota half a lap ago. Last lap, obviously compromised pace-wise, but it was the fastest lap of the race for the elite McLaren, as Evans now is bored of Victor Bouveng's amazing start and wants to keep with the lead battle. Going to try and go round the outside here at turn 1. Difficult to do. He's now still sending it there. Bouveng moves him over. There's a slight gap there. He's going to rub him up. And that's what Bouveng did to the Aston Martin. Is Evans going to make the move stick? Does he think that was racing or was it unfair? He thinks it was the former there, and he eases Bouveng out. Race control will be looking at that. Is Bouveng looking for a move back? He's not. It's now a defence from the Audi.
Yeah, Gregory Gilbert closing in behind in the green Audi as well. Right up front, this is the lead battle, and certainly Ratikkonen's got the pace to get on the tail of Stanislav Safronov. He's done just that. Gilbert only just in front of the number 11 Pedro Ibrahim driven Borisan BMW, which might be being shoveled a little bit wide there by Luke Ibanez in his Mercedes. So all trying to make up ground, but all losing ground to our race leading duo. It's still the Aston Martin, the prime class car, Stanislav Safronov, but we saw the climb out of turn 8 seems to be very good hunting ground for Josh Ratikkonen, and then Eric Evans goes wide and is pulling to the side. Not quite full motive power there. Is there any motive power?
It's chopping in a horrible place. The yellow flags will be out and Evans finally gets out of the way. Better was that damage from the contact at turn 2 with the BMW. Here we see the start of it. On the entry now, he just rubs up wheel against wheel and just forces them in. Actually, it was more bumper. I'd be surprised if that was race-ending damage there. Can't see anything obvious at this point. I don't think we had any more contact from that point onwards. But I think we'll have to go full course yellow there, unless that Academy Mustang can get to a safer position.
Yeah, he was very close to the edge of the circuit when he pulled off. Let's hope there's enough green sward on the outside. Ooh, running very close on the exit of turn 16 to the repair in the curbing for them. Luckily, most of them just staying with inside it. You can see it there, just beyond the red and white curbing, just at the edge of the concrete curbing beyond that. But right, another lap on the board. And Stanislav Safronov still in front, 0.6 of a second to the good. But Josh Ratikkonen is a question of when. And now Jan Durand is coming under severe pressure from Clement Seiler. Clement doing the sort of slightly wider line in, and he's got the grunt there, he's got his nose in front. But Jan Durand hasn't finished second 3 times this year without showing great ability with Hadrian David, but he does look as though his days are numbered in third place. He ceded second place really quite kindly and easily, and now he's left the door open at turn 4.
Yeah, made that super easy. The politest driven car I've seen in a long time from Durand there. And the Mustang is still there, so we still have yellow flags out into turn 8. So the next time the leaders hit the brakes, it will be a yellow flag. And is it Ratikkonen or Ratikkonen? Can he get the race lead before the pit window, which opens relatively soon in the next 4 minutes? The window will open as Ibanez drops it into the gravel, flicks it up into the face of Stefan Diasti, and that yellow Lotus ahead of the other Borisan automotive car. Yellow flag still out here, so no overtaking. Have to slow down if we see any green sectors in sector 2. That will be investigated by race control.
Wow, certainly looking at that lead battle, we're now starting to sense a little bit more movement from Josh Ratikkonen, really attacking the curbs, and that's because I don't think he's found the pace that he was seeking to take the lead from Stanislav Safronov. Safronov was very sort of tight-lipped on the grid, but really just suggesting how much focus he had. He knew the charge was going to be coming, didn't know from whom, but Ratikkonen didn't make the best starts in the race, fell down the order. Right, so the orders at the moment, it will now be in the Silver Cup class if it finishes as it is. No extra points for Larishan Konsani, of course, retired from the race. Now, NM Racing Team, Alex Papados and Luke Ibanez, if they go as they are with that Evans and Signoretti car having pulled out, they cannot topple Larishan Konsani before the season is over. The only people who could have done so were Evans and Signoretti, and that tiny bit of contact led... Hold on, let's do the points again. It's a giant arse. They can still do it, but with every lap of this race, the NM Racing Team car, there it is, trying to pick off another position surely just going past Pedro Ibrahim there. This is Luke Ibanez, the Spanish driver, so much experience for NM Racing Team, pushing and probing and just trying to get his nose in front.
Yeah, and everyone keeping it clean, and it's a real ebb and flow, isn't it, between these three different brands of cars here, and that's just how the cars work. It looks like the Mercedes probably the most breathless at the end of the straight. The Lotus may be the quickest in that, but now is compromised. That's going to give a chance here for Bessler, I think, to get a run down the inside. Is Diasse going to defend into the next corner? It feels like he's safe. Bessler just trying to catch the eye, trying to make him brake too late. They're obviously battling for overall position, but this is not a class position. You can see that on the different colour screen on the windscreen, the Lumen ranking showing the green for Diasse because he's Pro-Am versus the blue for the silver battle of the BMW behind.
Yeah, so it's a really good run in the Pro-Am class, but of course the race is being led by a Pro-Am class car. That's Stanislav Safronov leading the class, leading the Pro class. Of course, Josh Rattigan tucked in behind his rear bumper. It was 0.6 of a second between first and second. It's down to 0.4 of a second as the McLaren from Elite Motorsport attacks and attacks some more. Here he is, closing all the time. And Clement Seiler looking very loose and really hanging on. Second, third, fourth, fifth place is Victor Bouveng, and he's got Gregory Gilbert tucked in behind in that green Audi, and behind him Pedro Ibim, Luc Ibanez, Stefano D'Asta and Berko Bessler. They are the top 10 runners in this race. Time left on the clock, 36 minutes out of an hour, so we've got 24 done. But I think there's an awful lot more incident to come in this race, an awful lot more overtaking. Safronov really not putting a wheel wrong at the moment, and he's not leaving much hope for Josh Rattigan, but Josh certainly not taking no for an answer. He's just waiting for his moment, but he doesn't want Seiler to get any closer. There's a gap between them of 1.5 seconds between second and third, but again, the Aston Martin is looking very, very tidy in a straight line.
Yeah, it really is. And the McLaren is the opposite. It's the slowest car in the straight, but the best in the corners. And you can see Rattigan working hard behind the wheel, car moving, under braking over those bumps into turn number 1. So this will be where Rattigan can close in through the corners, but then the Aston out the corner just stretches its legs. And Duran has definitely settled the pace of that Toyota, able to stay with Seiler in third place. And at the moment, look at Rattigan really hustling through the corner. He's going to try and send it all the way around the outside. This is now a drag race, even though the McLaren doesn't have the speed. I think he's got enough of an overlap where this is going to be a job done inside the corner, should be his.
Neat, tidy and full of intent. He runs a little wide in the corner. He carried a bit more speed in, but he has changed the position. Now we've got a Silver Cup car in the lead of the race, as one would have expected, but certainly the Pro-Am entry from Mirage Racing can be proud. A really good run to pole position, but the McLaren has got past. Safronov is far from finished in number 7, the Aston Martin tucked in behind, and the second of the Aston Martins is Clement Seiler. Remember, he started on the outside of the front row. I thought he was closing in, but actually now the battle has changed over the McLaren going to the front. I think Safronov can actually advance at a greater pace because he's not looking in his mirrors at the moment, but he's just must be thinking, how did I let that pass? But again, GT4 balanced performance, but the cars deliver their performance at different points around the circuit, and the McLaren just looks so good through the faster sweepers.
Yeah, I was just looking for the other McLaren, Callum Davies. That's in the pit lane. That was relatively competitive at the start of this race. So that's boxed with an issue that we have not seen. Pit window now open as Gilbert trying to get past our Pro-Am leader. That BMW Bouveng has had a mega start and won't want to give the position up. Wants to get to the pits as fast as he can, not to lose any time whatsoever, as we see Duran pit there so aggressively. That was a mega late call to get the car into pit lane and the first car to pit in the race so far. Good
call, I think, because his teammate Hadjian David had the pace in the second of the qualifying session, so he will be starting from pole tomorrow, one of the Borusan Automotive cars coming in. But my thoughts on Bouveng, he's looking more and more loose as he tries to hang on to that 5th position overall. Second, running very nicely indeed in class, but I think he almost needs to come and pit and let his teammate have a go. As the pressure comes on from Gilbert, he's looking a little bit loose from time to time, and in a field as competitive as this, one wheel looped over a curb and you can lose an awful lot of ground. Yeah, and getting to work on the pits, and if the car is loose, the only thing the team can really do in the pit stop is adjust the pressures, and potentially they're just going a bit too high. But Seiler now really with a turn of pace, was the fastest car last time by about anyone in the field, so is now starting to reel the other Aston Martin in. And what is the appetite of Safronov to defend from Seiler? Okay, number 12 car in the pits of Borusan Automotive, Berko Bessler handing over to Gabriele Piana. So that should still be very good to the end of the race. Now, Hadjian David has just taken over from Jan Duran, and that Toyota that, remember, got up into second place right at the start of the race. Lights flashing, waiting to cross the line, and now can accelerate away beyond the speed limiter at the end of the pits. And just then, Gilbert got super close to the tail of Bouveng, and he's got the charging NM Racing Team Mercedes on the outside. 6th, is it about to become 5th? And certainly Luca Beneth hanging it on around out there now with the demise of the Evans and Signoretti Ford we saw at the side of the circuit. He's hoping he can, well, he's moved up to 2nd place in the championship if he finishes in that position in this race. Still will take a few points off the dominant group in the championship, Consani and Lariche, but right now he's actually just focused on getting to the end of the lap, perhaps.
Yeah, and some damage on the back of that Mercedes as well, part of the diffuser, as Ibrahim tries to go around the outside. Ibanez sends it in quickly there. Either of them going to pit. Ibanez squeezes Ibrahim and gets it down the inside. Great move there from the BMW and goes, and then can the Lotus of Diaste now attack Ibanez?
I think it can. Much smaller looking car tucked it behind. It's the yellow one in the background of the shot. Now, how do they get to the end of the straight? BMW ahead of Mercedes and the Lotus. The Lotus advantage will be in the faster corners. It'll have, you know, superior balance, and sort of much as the McLaren does as well. But in terms of straight line grunt, it doesn't have it. Evening shot. The shadow's getting longer and longer. It's nearly 6:30. But this race, of course, the start was delayed. Repairs to the curbing on the exit of the turn 16 chicane, the penultimate corner of the lap. And that delayed, but it does mean the drivers are getting much lower sun in their faces in this part of the race, and when their teammates take over come the pit stops, there'll be points on the circuit where they're driving by pretty much memory alone.
Yes, but it's important to have the right visor on, even in a closed cockpit car like this. And Diaste actually running an open face helmet, quite old school and rare these days. It does have a slight sun visor to it, but the full face helmet, you're able to slide the visor up and down. You can see Ibanez in that Mercedes, his Iridium visor reflecting nicely back at us, and it just, same as wearing a pair of sunglasses, just takes the glare out. It's still bright if you're looking directly into it, and some of these corners you're definitely getting the sun very low into your eye as they turn through this sweeping part of the Nürburgring GP part.
Yeah. Of course, their focus, you're looking at them, you can't see where their eyes are focusing, obviously focusing around the apex of the next corner, but as they come up the slope, a lot of drivers face full of sunshine there. They're dropping down into the compression of turns, out of turn 12, into the compression at turn 13, then up the rise and to the 14, 15, 16 chicane. They're at turn 13 there, but the NM Racing Team Mercedes dropping back a little bit, and into the pits comes Josh Rattican from the lead of the race, but a real challenge in behind between the two Aston Martins. Got an AV Motorsport Porsche in with them as well, but it's 2nd and 3rd for the Aston Martins, but effectively going into 1st and 2nd, and it's our poleman Staffarov ahead of Seiler, is the Pro-Am runner ahead of the Silver Class runner. Ignore the Porsche with them at the moment because that is not in their group, but they've got quite a gap back to where we were looking to see what we'd expect to be Victor Bouveng, and it remains to be Victor Bouveng unless he suddenly has a late dive into the pits. But let's see what happens with Elite Motorsport with their pit stop.
I'm slightly surprised they came in so early. Could have gone longer with Rattican. He had some space in front of him, so he was running in clean air. Cresswell's pace is strong, so it's not a disaster in that regard, but are they going to slot into some free air? At the moment, it's looking okay on the tracker where they're going to go. Check over the tyre pressures. Didn't see much of a bleed from the rears. Does look like the front mechanic is taking some air out the tyres, though, and this is going to be the battle. Where is the Toyota going to be once that elite McLaren leaves pit lane? We get this great shot from turn 1 looking backwards, and it'll give us a great illustration. There's a minimum pit stop time, so the car controller may lift the lollipop and the car might stay still because the next driver, Cresswell, will be looking at the pit lane timer and he won't leave until 0. Leave now he does. I think he's going to have 2 or 3 seconds still in the lead over the Toyota as they get to turn 1.
Yeah, and that looks though the job was done, so maybe it was absolutely the right timing to bring it in, because that was the one they had to mark it against. Hadrian David has been on board for a lap or so he's fully up to speed. Mackenzie Cresswell, though, Elite Motorsport, fairly cautious run through from turn 1 to turn 2, and he'll then have a face full of sunshine. We talked earlier about another McLaren, which was the 812 car. Contact led to leakage, and that is why I'm leaking what, who knows, but haven't had any further message on that. That's why that one's parked up, and certainly getting very busy indeed is doesn't matter where you look on the circuit, something's happening. But good to see the Lotus still pushing very, very hard indeed. But plenty of competition around it to fight with, and it's Alex Papadopoulos who's taken over the number 15 Mercedes. Remember, his teammate Luca Ibanez was very, very much on the charge.
Yeah, and I think all these cars are going to have to pit at the end of this lap because the pit window will be closed. Cars have to be in pit lane by 25 minutes remaining as we see the leaders pit. So this will be a proper pit lane race. And interestingly, they're handing over. They're earlier in pit lane, so they will release into the fast lane. So if they're in the real estate where the Aston Martin will want to be, they will have to wait and concede. That's the positive of being earlier in the pit lane. And look how busy this is going to be. Are people going to get blocked in? We're going to have to see pushbacks potentially. It's getting very busy very quickly in pit lane.
Certainly is, but by dint of making that pit stop, Cresswell might say 0-1-8 in the screen, 18th position, 19th place, Hadrian David chasing, but when this all shakes out, they certainly should be in the top 3 or 4. They may well be in first and second positions, but they've got clear track at the moment. Hadrian David in the Toyota, chasing, and just waiting for the lollipop to go up on Stanislav Safronov's car, now in the hands of Alexandra Weintraub, his teammate.
Yeah, and this is going to be the shot. Is Weintraub rolling down pit lane? He is, but it's behind Detroit now. So they have jumped, and I think Detroit's got a chance here. It's going to be side by side. Of course, the McLaren has momentum. It sweeps through, and I think so will the Toyota. It's going to be side by side. Is the Toyota going to cut the front off? He does. And that is a close battle, considering how many laps difference there was on the pitting. Strategy working out pretty similar.
Yeah, absolutely so, but the pit stops now are largely done, in fact all done in the field. The pit window is still open, but everyone has at least called into the pits. They've got the job done there, but the main job is being done by Elite Motorsport. They timed it perfectly. We weren't too sure. I wasn't too sure if they'd come in. Could have gone another lap with Josh Rattigan, but Mackenzie Cresswell taken over and importantly just got ahead of the Matmut Evolution Toyota that had been pushing so hard after a very early pit stop. A change from Jan Duran to Hadrian David. And in behind, plenty more sorting out happening now. Cars diving out of the pit lane. And several people lost various positions. Next time around we'll have clarity of thought, but the car that was driven by Victor Bouveng has now got Ricardo van der Ende at the wheel, and that was started by Benjamin Lessen, of course it was, long-time teammate, but certainly a car that's gained is the BMW, looking at the front of that particular field, ahead of the number 15 NM Racing Team Mercedes that was started by Luca Ibanez, now in the hand of American racer Alexandra Papadopoulos. But Ricardo van der Ende, what he doesn't know about driving a BMW fast in GT4 racing ain't worth knowing. But this is the lead battle. It's Mackenzie Cresswell, Hadrian David, then a tiny bit of a gap, and up to third place is the car that started second, and Clement Seiler handed it over to Baudin de Two. He's got a little bit of a margin, and then we can see the best of the rest.
And Weintraub there in shot, the 7 car leading the Pro-Am class, is hustling the back of Piana. So the pace of Weintraub very strong there. And then we've got Volde in the car that Bouveng started in second in Pro-Am, 6th overall. Then we have this gaggle of cars, don't we, all together, just trying to work out where they are in the food chain. And that last lap was 5/10 quicker for the Toyota, and that is why he's all over the back of Cresswell. And is this going to be a battle we need to keep an eye on? 23 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. The Toyota much quicker in the speed traps as well, 3 to 4 kilometers an hour quicker. So this could be an interesting battle, and the Toyota at the moment looking the favourite to try and get the race lead.
Yeah, and a race win. 3 second place was very promising for them this year, but a victory will certainly give them a huge encouragement. Hadrian David and Jan Duran. Jan from Spain, Hadrian from France, but right now all over the tail of Mackenzie Cresswell. Mackenzie, of course, didn't have as much. He's earlier into this stint in the car that's giving chase, but certainly Hadrian David's got his tail up, pushing very hard indeed. And the car that started in a pole position is now down in 5th, but is still leading the Pro-Am class. Alexandra Weintraub in the number 7 Aston Martin for Mirage Racing. But the real attack, as the shadows grow longer and longer on this glorious sunny evening here at the Nürburgring, is the car in second place, closing in now. Let's take a look at the points with Borisan Automotive coming forward. The championship is still open, but only just. Gabriele Piana and Berkay Bessler up into second place now. Cresswell and Ratican, well, they're back in 6 points further back. But Piana, bear in mind, this car started, the 0-4 on the windscreen, started way down the order, about 16th place on the grid. They kept out of trouble on the opening lap, and now they're starting to make the progress, the sister car, in that battle as well. So Robert Consani, who didn't even get to take part in this race, and his teammate Benjamin Lariche, they're in the pits. They came here, they got their car damaged through no fault of their own on the rolling start of the race, assaulted from behind by Roberto Ferrer, and I'm afraid that did not help their cause. They parked it up, but with such a huge points margin, they're in the pits doing the maths. But all they need is a good run tomorrow, surely, and they've shown that by winning 4 rounds so far this year. They ought to be in. Battle for Silver Cup, there it is, Elite Motorsport, Matmut Evolution, covered by, what are we talking here, under half a second.
Yeah, and the Toyota caught up quickly on the lap before, didn't it? But now it's kind of been stagnant for the last lap. They are catching the back of Ajith Kumar. Ajith Kumar's been very good at, when he's getting lapped, of getting out of the way, and he'll need to be looking in his mirrors in about 2 to 3 corners time, because this lead battle is going to be right on the back. Cresswell probably will get on the headlight flashes in that yellow McLaren just to make sure Kumar has seen him, and David there in the Toyota will be hoping he's not, and there is the headlight flash.
Yeah, Kumar, you can sense he actually adjusted his line coming out of turn 4. He's looking for seeing where exactly they're going to catch him. I'll tell you what, it's going to be on the exit of turn 6, that left-hand kink maybe as they run down towards the hairpin. If he's in front of them at the hairpin, he's going to have to get out of their way, but certainly very positive driving from Mackenzie Cresswell. He makes himself very clear. Car standing out, the yellow and black McLaren, and Kumar has also seen the car in second place. That's very good news. So Hadjian David tucks in behind the McLaren in his Toyota. Kumar keeps out of the way, but if he looks in his mirrors, there are going to be more coming, plenty more. But the Indian racer loving his time here, and certainly brings his own fans with him wherever he goes. But you have to say these first 2 cars have made good their escape. The gap back to Baudin de 2 is probably about another 3.5 seconds, but even since the start of this lap, that has stretched out over the number 39 Racing Spirit of Le Mans, Aston Martin. It's down to these 2 now. What's left on the clock? 20 minutes. Yeah,
just worry with Cresswell. The pace is okay, but the McLaren seems to want a later apex, so he's turning in much later than the Toyota, and it's like he's inviting a dive bomb potentially from the Toyota. So at the moment, Cresswell not feeling like he has to defend, but not even like he has to manipulate his line. As we look at the Pro-Am leader of Weintraub, it's been a great run for the 7 cars so far. There's the second place BMW going through shot. Then the Lotus, that yellow car, in third. The AM battle at the moment, Porsche from the Toyota, from the BMW there. So this is the second place car of Velda with a huge slide on the exit. Track getting dirtier and dirtier on the exit.
Yeah, well, that was always going to happen. It's the other place it's particularly tricky is, of course, at in the Schumacher S, turns 9 and 10 as the cars come up the field. And the drivers now used to it, but when you have the drivers coming out after the pit stops, for that, some of them, it's a surprise as how much gravel is on the track. Great to have a Lotus going so well. In the top 10, Alberto Nasca, 3rd in the Pro-Am Cup, and ever-enthusiastic Italian. There he is. Light in his eyes as he runs down towards the first corner. 3rd. Best result for the Lotus this year is a 9th place, a class-winning 9th place. So on track potentially to improve on that. But what's Nasca got ahead of him? He's actually got to gain about 2.5 seconds so on Alexander Papadopoulos, so maybe that's beyond his remit. The car running very wide, a Mercedes running very wide at turn 1. Don't think it's going to cause any trouble for those around it. In the AM Cup class, it's Kronberg and Blickel in the lead, as they have been so much of the year. Blickel in 16th place overall. Well clear in class. The next car in class is 22nd position. It's car number 90. It's Hans Holmlund for Toyota Gazoo Racing Sweden, running solo. Hour in this battling. That will be fun. There he is, Holmlund, there at the back of that gaggle of cars. First to second, though, staying at around 4/10 of a second. And looking to the cars in the class there. Holmlund second in class, looking for Leandri. Showing with Anthony de Barn. Well, we're getting to see too much of one of the cars there with contact, and car number 60 is the car that went around. That's Honda Ordem. sharing the car with Gustavo Xavier. It was absolutely pitched at the point where the car is most off balance halfway around the corner, but definite front end contact there. No further action for the incident between cars 24 and 32. 24 was Vinny Beltramelli, Nico Ferrarin's JSB competition, Porsche, and 32, Hendrik Still and Joachim Bolting. Joachim at the wheel at the moment, but we did see that being shoveled down the order earlier in the race.
Yeah, I think we will see investigation. It was great timing to go on board there, wasn't it, as we fired into the side. We were on board the 317 car of Leandri, and I think that's going to be a drive-through penalty. He was down the inside, but not alongside enough, and it's such a small break there that I don't think there's anything else the 60 BMW could have done. I think he was the innocent party, so I think the 317 is going to get a penalty and potentially lose a class podium.
Yeah, and that's Jean-Mathieu Leandri, who came here as the points leader with his teammate Anthony Dvan in the AM class, so that will give hope for those behind, including Blickel and Kronberg, who just happen to be leading the class at this point. This is the battle for third and fourth positions. Baudin did 2 in fourth place. A little bit of front body damage, tiny weeny little element on the side of the car in third place, Gabriele Piana. How did he get it? Well, it could have been in one of many, many incidents. Wow. Now we did see already, we'd seen that white Mercedes going off, or was I catching the end? That was a replay. We saw it off the circuit, but I thought that was down at turn 1, so maybe that was afters up at turn 16 there.
Yeah, way too late on the brakes. The Toyota now suddenly doesn't seem to have the pace it did just 3 laps ago. Big slide there, the rear tyres obviously starting to get towards the end of their life. We're 45 minutes in, and a 10-second time penalty, not a drive-through, which equates to be just over 27 seconds here at the Nürburgring. So 10 seconds will be added on at the end, which I think is relatively lenient because the 60 car which it hit lost more than that. So the 317 will have to get their head down to try and keep a class podium.
Right, the clock continues to count down, just over a quarter of an hour in this race, nearly at the 75% mark. No further pit stops required unless someone's getting some damage fixed, but that will take them out of the points. It's so competitive. But our first two, they was separated by 4/10 of a second. It's now 6/10. The battling is further down the order. This is just outside the top 10. 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 14th is the Gregory Gilbert car that's been handed over to Paul Petit. It's very fast in their hands, and look for the green Audi to start making positions.
Yeah, look at the exhaust hanging off the Supra there of Goudet, and that's right on the borderline of potentially getting the black and orange meatball flag for a mechanical issue, because that's a relatively large component to fall off the back of that Supra, and it's like the whole exhaust back box is hanging off. And yeah, the Audi is the car on the move pace-wise. Is it going to be able to send it down the inside into turn 1 on the Porsche?
Yeah, certainly any cars running over the curbing run risk of if you've got something hanging loose. And here goes Petit lining up. Oh, actually, just go for it. Right through he goes into turn 1. You could see it coming, but Paul Petit, so much experience, got the job done very, very nicely indeed. Car in front is the Matmut Evolution Toyota, and certainly that may yet have a problem with its exhaust hanging down. Cindy Goudet hoping for a good day, but right here and right now it may come to a sticky end.
Yeah, I think the Porsche Faradin actually put the indicator on to the Audi just to say, I'm letting you go. So smart driving, because they're not the same class, and his battle is to try and stick with that Audi now to get past the Mammoth Supra that we're talking about, the damage. And looks like Bolting is slightly compromising the pace of these cars, but is able to hang on to the position thus far.
He won't once Petit gets through, presuming he will. Here comes the green Audi going around the outside, or looking outside in turn 9. Turn 7 down the slope would mean inside into turn 8, but there was no inside being offered. And that exhaust, it's absolutely dragging on the track now. And someone running a little bit wide in the background, the shot regaining a bit of pace, the exit of turn 8. Ajith Kumar, he's probably just moving wide to let other people through. And when you go wide, what do you get? You get all the rubbishes on the track.
Yeah, the problem is you get so much here, it's actually hard to even get back in, as we see Petit get down to the inside of Goudet. She doesn't fight it, but Petit times it wrong, goes in too deep, and they're going to compromise each other into the next corner. Is the Audi still going to be in front or not, as we finally see this Pro-Am car, Austin, get caught by the very quick Genish here in the Borusan Automotive BMW. We said about it earlier, but the link between Borusan and BMW is so strong. BMW now offering this lovely blue colour as a factory-coloured spec car.
Yeah, well, that's quite an accolade for them, and they've had it staunchly for many years. But leading the Pro-Am class is still Alexandra Weintraub, building on the work of Stanislav Safronov, 5th place overall. Second car in class is a little bit further down the order, but certainly it's been a really good run for the Mirage Racing Aston Martin.
And actually has got the pace over that Borusan car, and if you are at the Nürburgring, there's a BMW M5 in that colour in the paddock, so go and have a look at that. It's certainly very striking, and yeah, the BMW's got good performance. I just think the Aston Martin seems to be very well hooked up and suited to the Nürburgring. Straight line speed always important here, but for an AM driver that Weintraub is, he's doing a mega job. And there is Ajith Kumar, probably with a lot of marbles on those tyres, making his job much harder, but he's taking the fight to the 30 car at the moment in front of him.
Yeah, that's the Kronberg Blickel car that's leading the AM class comfortably at the moment, but he's just put a lap on Ajith Kumar. Ajith, though sometimes you do that when you've been, someone a bit faster comes past, you sort of find it, sort of fixate on what they're doing, and you may pick up your pace, but it may lead to disaster. Right, Paul Petit still trying to make the moves, got ahead of Cindy Goudet. There is Cindy in car number 99, and there is the exhaust dragging, just not quite touching the ground unless you hit the curb, and then it vibrates up and down, and then there would be sparks flying, most certainly. But Cindy Goudet, certainly the way she's driving that Toyota, is not backing off one iota.
No, and I just worry that the support further down that exhaust system isn't designed for the weight of that back box to be bouncing around, and at some point a weld is going to go somewhere in the downpipe, and yeah, hopefully it can hang on another 11 minutes, but it is getting lower and lower, and every time go over a curb I think it's weakening it somewhere there. Let's just hope it's got enough strength to get to the end, as we still see this battle rage on. Weintraub doesn't need to defend, as we've got a yellow flag out. I think we've got a car off at turn 8. It's the 60 car that had contact earlier on, and I'd say it looks like he's been punted again. That's an odd place to lose the car by yourself, and is this going to be a full course yellow?
Right, paying attention, no to the full course yellow. We continue racing. This is the battle that's between Weintraub and Gedic. Gedic fleetingly almost got ahead there, but that should go through to the flag. And Gedic now making the move done. He certainly was probing into turn 1, got it done. And I think Weintraub's being sensible. He's leading his class. There is no point wasting a really good result. And we are about to head to full course yellow in 20 seconds, or that's what was left on the screen. Full course yellow in 10 seconds now. So anyone wants to make a move, make it right now. But up front, what's the gap between first and second? 1.3 seconds. There we are, full course yellow. Everyone backing it right off as it's yellow the whole way around the lap. And for Onda Erdem, another one of the Turkish drivers, sitting there frustrated in the gravel. But this is our first pair in the race, Mackenzie Cresswell and Hadrian David. Mackenzie seemed to have the battle come to him. He seemed to rise to the challenge, and at the moment 1.3 seconds clear. So maybe the best shot from Hadrian David was fired early on after those pit stops, and he hasn't got any more to offer to do what he needs to do to get at Mackenzie Cresswell. Or maybe not.
Yeah, the only thing would be, did his tyres go over pressure throughout his stint? And now this full course yellow could potentially just go straight back to green if it's a short one. And if those tyre pressures come back down, does that favour the Toyota to get a second bite of it? And I think we had to go to full course yellow there. That BMW was just a sitting duck, really. If another car went off, they had to get that driver from Turkey out of the way. And I think he's just had a really hard afternoon there, Erdem. You can see down in 31st place, but we'll lose that to Kumar under this next lap of full course yellow.
You know, some races are just not your race, and car 32 came here. This is the Joachim Bolting, Hendrik Still, WNS Motorsport Porsche, came here leading the Pro-Am class, got shuffled down the order early in the race. They've just picked up a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits one time too many, and that will knock them back down. They're in 11th place overall, running 4th in class, but I'm afraid that will cost them a few more points that they wanted to put into their pot, because they've got the second race here at the Nürburgring to add more points, and then the final round in October, 11th and 12th at Barcelona. But a 5-second penalty, particularly with the full course yellow, gobbling up some of the time they could have been trying to make it up, will hurt them a little bit, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Marshall's doing a mega job of getting this car out the way quickly, so could be out of full course yellow in the next 60 seconds, I'd say, so we could get 7 minutes of green flag racing to the end. They're just going to drag that BMW behind the barrier, and as soon as it is, we've got a chance to go green, as a lot of the drivers have had hot air this morning, haven't they? And there's an illustration of it flying away.
Yeah. Very nicely put. Off they go. Beautiful view it would be if you rise high above the circuit here on an evening like this at the Nürburgring. Safety car now coming out after full course yellow. What's left on the clock? 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
Slightly surprised by that with where we were in the race. Tyres were up to temperature, but the race director obviously deciding to go cautious on it. There's a lot of debris out there, I guess, so he's wanting making sure everyone's in a good place. But this is going to be a pretty quick turnaround now, because even if the safety car only comes past pit lane once, I think we only have 3 minutes remaining, so possibly 2 racing laps at best. But if it has to do another lap, this could potentially finish under safety car.
It certainly could. So for Mackenzie Cresswell, just when the full course yellow period was thrown, he was 1.3 seconds clear in his Elite Motorsport McLaren of the Toyota of Hadrian David. That's gone out to 3.3 seconds, but of course now it's safety car, that gap will close right up again. So if we do get to have a final blast of the flag, Mackenzie Cresswell is going to have to defend like mad. He'd already done the really hard work. And let's wait and see if he has to do it or he doesn't, or how he manages it. But
so Joachim Bolton just isn't speeding up.
No, he isn't at all.
Gilbert is frustrated by that. It's like Bolton wants it to finish here, 4th place, and obviously for the championship he's happy with that. It's like he's trying to manipulate the restart of this. If he doesn't catch the pack, the race director has a hard decision to go. Is that as fast as he can go? He's not doing 80, so he knows it's not full course yellow, but he has got a full-on conga line behind him, and suddenly he starts to bolting, but a little bit too late.
Yeah, you really wonder if he was getting a message from the pits that confused him, but safety car, it's catch up if you will, or not lock up, but we're seeing just that there from the Ginetta, the Mojica hand of Mojica family car, Tio at the wheel at the moment, but no particular damage done. But again, in the setting sun here, a face full of smoke for the driver behind would have been a moment at which they could have done without. I think we can say that.
Yeah, the safety car is now slowing down to try and pick the pace up, and ironically, safety car could be going slower than 80 kilometers an hour at this point to try and get us a restart this time. We still have cars flooding down to turn 5 as well behind this main group we're looking at on the drone. So big call here. Do we go back to green with potentially 5 minutes remaining? We will not, because it's too late in the lap to turn those lights off now. They would have had to be off way before turn 13 where we've just gone through. So it's going to be one more lap of safety car, and the safety car lap can be as long as 3.5 minutes around here. So that means I think we're at best going to get 1 racing lap.
Okay, who else can get into the mix? Gabriele Piana, obviously able behind the safety car to move closer in 3rd place. Borisan Automotive, but how about D2 as well? Because those places are just swapped around just before that, and Gedik in 5th place. So 2 of the Borisan cars with the Aston Martin between them. But up front, behind the Maserati safety car, is the McLaren of Elite Motorsport. What's left on the clock? 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Let's factor in a lap behind the safety car, which is the minimum we're going to have at this point now. And it looks like it's going to be a 1-lap blast the finish or not. We simply do not know. Looking for any further messages. Some cars under investigation for getting the procedure wrong under full course yellow. Car number 317 is the one that's being considered now. That's Leandri and Anthony DeBarn. They're the AM class leaders, so this could be a setback for them.
Yeah, safety car in this lap, message just coming through. So, yep, it's going to be a 1-lap shootout. And look at Piana there in 3rd place, 13 positions gained for that car. And it was a strong start from Bessler, and Piana has carried on that form. And you can see the movers on the timing tower on the left. And Piana here, we've seen him be very aggressive at times this year. I think back to Spa, where he was mega going round the outside of the last bus stop chicane. And one thing Nürburgring is it's got a lot of chicane, so can he replicate a similar move in that bright blue Borisan Automotive car? Can that Toyota come back to life, or has this McLaren got enough to hang on for the win?
Let us wait and see. We'll have to wait half a lap until they're released. They're going around the turn 8 hairpin, bottom of the hill. The clock has 3.5 minutes remaining on it. But important thing is the car will be coming in this lap. When I say the car, I mean the safety car, the Maserati safety car. Light still flashing on the roof bar, but any moment now they should be turned off to indicate, yep, when you get to the end of this lap, you can go and play all over again. But can Mackenzie Cresswell hang on to the lead of the race? Has Adrien David got any hope of getting past, or more to the point, the car that's gained 13 positions? In the background of the shot there, one of the 2 Borusan automotive cars strike to take another win. Certainly Gabriele Piana, the driver on board at the moment, will be very much looking for a real clash between the first 2, a real scrap into the first corner to maybe dive bomb the pair of them somewhere between turn 1 and turn 4.
Depending how quickly Cresswell goes, we could squeeze 2 laps here. Fastest lap has been a 2:05. Last sector takes 20 seconds to go. So if he gets into sector 3 in the next 9 seconds, it could be 2 laps. Cresswell would rather 1, I'm sure, so he's going to keep the pace slow. And the way he's going, this is going to be a 1-lap shootout. He has gone, and he's got a good restart over David. Slightly caught napping there, not surprising. It's 5 to 7 local time.
So what's it to be? No overtaking till the start-finish line. Already Gabriele Piana in 3rd place in the Aquamarine BMW, or the Borusan Automotive BMW. Blue will be the one that's really desperate to get in the mix, and I'd say he's close enough to the tail of the Toyota in 2nd to trouble it and maybe buy a tiny bit of space for Mackenzie Cresswell. Cresswell in the Elite Motorsport McLaren is not leaving anything there for anyone to attack. Slightly clunks the curb on the inside, but left no gap for the Toyota to dive for. The Toyota now has got its hands full because Piana in that number 12 BMW is pushing and running very wide indeed. Maybe that wasn't the move to make, as he was trying everything to get the power down. I think Cresswell's got the job done. He'll be out of turn 4, this one, in the lead of the race. Can he hang on through to the finish? 1 minute and 31 seconds. Has he gone just too soon, or has he just done the maths right, or more to the point, his team done the maths right, that he can run round to the end of this lap and the checkered flag will meet him? It may be a second or 2 the wrong side of that, but I'm sure they've done their sums.
I think Race Control have taken it out of their control.
Oh yeah,
pulled it in the final lap. When it's that close, Race Control decide to. We might actually have a sub 1 hour race potentially, but I think this lap is actually slightly off the pace as the tyres are coming up to temperature, and it's looked like they all had a chance to make a place, but at the moment it's actually this Aston Martin closest to the car in front in the top 5 battle here, and Piana is having to look in his mirrors rather than attack. But I think the Toyota is too far behind the McLaren, and now Cresswell just needs to bring it home through these final few corners.
So the gap needs to be 77 points, which is not for Larish and Consani to wrap it up in this race. 77 points still played for in the rest of the championship. Piana at the moment, doing the maths there, is 66 points down along with his teammate Bessler, so it's still open, and Benjamin Larish didn't even get around the first corner. He even hadn't got to the start line before he was clouted. Starting 7th on the grid, was attacked from behind by an over-enthusiastic rival, and has had to watch the race from the sidelines. Their season's been so strong, it'll be really quite amazing if anyone can overpower them. But right now, we're coming around the final corner of the final lap, the first of the 2 races here at the Nürburgring, and it's going to be victory to Elite Motorsport with their McLaren. Mackenzie Cresswell building on the work of Josh Rattican. At the end, the margin of victory, 4/10 of a second, and a spin in the background. The Lotus has got caught out, and one of the, well, I think that's the bolting still Porsche getting going. So what looked as though it was going to be a top 10 finish for the Lotus is nothing of the sort. Right, victory in the Pro-Am class goes 6th place to Weintraub, started from, his car started from pole position. Victory in the Am class to Blickel. Let's take a look at what was happening. It was clearly going to be busy.
Petit down the inside of the Lotus, and then bolting innocently caught up in it. And Petit has just turned around NASCAR there, and that will be so frustrating for both the Porsche bolting and the Lotus, who was on for such a strong result, and Petit there, a desperate lunge on the final corner of the lap.
Well, fireworks were promised, fireworks were delivered, but victory to Elite Motorsport there. Mackenzie Cresswell building on the work of Josh Rattican. For those behind, many will have a story to tell, but Mirage Racing, they're happy too, because they took 6th place overall, which meant victory for them in the Pro-Am class, and plenty of points to put. It was a race with much to digest, but for some it was rather sport by what happened on the start line, with a driver getting ahead of himself, realising his mistake, backing it off, but then clipping the outright championship leader and doing damage that would take it out of the race. So for Benjamin Larish, huge frustration.
Yeah, and they'll just be hoping for a rather uneventful race tomorrow to try and get the points up where it seals the championship. And it'll be a pretty restless night for those Audi drivers of Lloris and Kasani, because you just go, is our luck running out? Is that now the form? Is that what's going to happen? Or can we reverse the trend and get back on the front foot like they've been doing all season and dominate?
Yeah, absolutely dominant. They came here with 161 points, the closest challenger on 82. So really just a simple run today would have been enough for them. Hasn't happened. But can they do it again tomorrow? Can they do it properly tomorrow? But really their form has been strong enough all season. But when you're so close, and it's actually weird to be given such a large championship lead, but a car that's coming closer into the mix. Mackenzie Cresswell was the driver at the end, and Josh Rattigan at the start. Elite Motorsport with...
And then Piana finishing strong.
Yeah, both that Borusan Automotive BMW and the sister car were down in about 15th, 16th position on this 36-car grid, but made outstanding starts, got straight into the top 10, worked their way forward from there. But for Mackenzie Cresswell, yeah, maybe it was a good luck thing having his belt around the back, or maybe he simply got dressed in a hurry. But let's go down and hear the thoughts of the winning driver right at the end, Mackenzie Cresswell.
Oh my word, the GT4 is the gift that keeps on giving, and you very much helped us with that because you have kept the championship alive.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly what I was trying to do into the race, but yeah, I'll take it, I guess. Yeah, it was a really good race. It's a long time coming for sure for us this year. Yeah, Elite's done an amazing job. It's always difficult to come back after such a successful year last year, but yeah, it feels really good to finally get the monkey off our back. The car was amazing all throughout, so big thanks to McLaren, everyone at Elite Motorsport, all done an amazing job.
Great job, well deserved.
So there was the thought of our winner, car number 78, as Mackenzie pointed out, last year champions. This year they hadn't had a win until now. Second places might have been put in the bag, they most certainly were, but this is the one that counted. And great pressure at the end there when one lap restart after the safety car period. Adrian David in the Toyota came home 9/10 of a second behind. He couldn't quite manage it, but Gabriele Piana up so many positions, 13 places gained, moved up to third place. But for the McLaren crew from Elite Motorsport, be a lot of pride in this one. That was a tough old race, but they kept it clean. Great overtaking manoeuvres, and managed not to get caught in anyone's incident, which isn't something you can put on everybody's race report card. But for Josh Rattigan and Mackenzie Cresswell, the fingers are up, #1 in the bag. And let's move down and hear the thoughts of our winners in the Pro-Am class.
Stanislav, firstly, let's come to you because that launch off the line was absolutely brilliant. You kept it clean.
Yes, clean race. Thank you for my team, and congratulations my teammate. He doing also a very good job, and then quali and then the race. And let's see tomorrow. We try to win again.
Yeah. Alexander, talk us through that stint from your perspective.
Yeah, it was a good stint. Tire degradation was a bit too high in the second stint. Also, we lost some time during driver change because of gearbox issue, but yeah, luckily resolved. Yeah, thanks a lot. Team did a great job. We keep on fighting.
Well done, guys.
So there's the thought. Yes, indeed, about 5 positions were squandered. They came in from the lead of the race, but job done. Their main job wasn't just to win the race. That was a secondary job. The main job was to win the Pro-Am class, and that they did. But right at the end of the race, of course, there were incidents, and up at the final corner, field backing up, the Lotus spun around, and then unfortunate rival going around the outside was given a little bit of a push and a shove by the number 8 Paul Petit Audi, and a lost out on a top 10 position there. But plenty to chew over, Joe, after that race. Some people smiling, some people slightly grimacing. We're only grimacing because we're staring into the bright sunshine in the commentary booth late at night as we check the positions. The podium ceremonies will follow, but a lot to think about in that race. But certainly for Elite Motorsport, it was a chance to atone for not taking the wins they gathered by the bucket load last year.
Yep, and it was a clean race, and you can see the Lotus there. That lost a class podium as well with that contact.
OK, let's go back down to the collection area, and the winner in the AM class, W&S Motorsport, Max Conberg and Daniel Blickel.
Beautifully done, boys. How tough was that pressure at the end?
Aye, it was a bit unexpected. At for the end, for the last couple of minutes, we get the safety car. I was hoping not, but I mean, in the end, I could manage it well. I had a very good pace today. I was feeling very good. So yeah, now after Misano, we lost some points. Yeah. Now we wanted a double win here, so 50% done. and for tomorrow.
Yeah.
We hope to do it again.
Nicely done. And what's your name? We're going to see you behind the wheel soon?
My name is Maria.
Aha.
Maria, and yeah, we'll see. Now she's karting, and we'll see, maybe.
Oh, okay, so we really will see you behind the wheel soon.
Probably,
Yes.
we'll see. We'll see. Thanks.
Good. Congratulations. That was a great stint for you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, also had a good qualifying here. So happy to make up some points for the championship. It was a really important race for us, and looking forward for tomorrow. Hopefully for some Eifel weather, some rain would be great. So let's see.
Good job, guys. You're clearly the lucky mascot.
Well, certainly by taking victory in class, they closed the points lead of Anthony Debarn and Jean-Mathieu Leandri, who ended 7th in class. So a real swing around there, but you've just got to grab it with both hands, haven't you, Joe, when things get to this point in the season. As we say, we've got the final round coming up with another race tomorrow and the second one here at the Nürburgring, and then 11th and 12th of October, the 2 races to bring the GT4 European Series to a close. But right now, closing in on the AM class points lead, but not there just yet is this car. And that was a good result from Kronberg and Blickel there. 1, 2, 3, 4th class win of the season. So put them in the bag and see where you get at the end of the season.
Yeah, as we look upon the Nürburg Castle, made out of volcanic stone. Used to be a very volcanic active area, didn't it?
Well, it's still active now, but right now it's victory today for the Elite Motorsport crew. Josh Rattican and Mackenzie Cresswell, 9/10 of a second in that final lap shootout, because the pressure came on Hadrian David in the Toyota in 2nd place from Gabriele Piana's BMW, and that sort of just helped Mackenzie a little bit, but they took the win with both hands. Top in Pro-Am is 6th overall, Safronov and Weintraub. They started from pole position. And top in Am, down in 13th place with fast closing Hans Holmlund, went to Kronberg and Blickel for WNS Motorsport with their Porsche. They certainly seem very pleased with that. So some smiling faces at the end of race 1 here at the Nürburgring, but the biggest smiles of all for Josh Rattican and Mackenzie Cresswell, overall winners. We had a handful of cars that didn't make it through to the finish of the race, but certainly some cracking racing here. The first of 2 for the GT4 European Series, and for some there'd be a little shame from moves that didn't go right. Others, we never really got to the foot of why Eric Evans had to pull off. He was running very well, had actually moved into provisional 2nd place in the championship, whereas the cars were running around with the demise, of course, of the Benjamin Lariche, Roberto Consani car, or literally on the start line of the race. But for the American racer, Evans and Marco Signoretti, the car, their Mustang, pulled off, and they didn't get the points they wanted to close in on the championship leaders. So frustration there, but with a packed field of cars on a circuit like the Nürburgring, always plenty can happen, and plenty does happen. So going back to the start of the race, and I'm afraid Roberto Faria moved out a little bit early and caught the back of the championship leading car and took it out. Benjamin Lariche, the innocent party there. Then some really robust racing as Stanislav Safronov led away at the front of the field, with tucking in behind a very good start for Jan Duran to go into that 2nd place, and a brilliant getaway from the 2 Borisan Automotive cars. And then Josh Rattican, Jan Duran were having some fearsome battling, and that was going to be passed on to their teammates in the 2nd part of the race. Rattican making the move. Little bit of contact there for Eric Evans, and not long later his Ford was out of the race. Didn't get to the foot of why that had to go to the side of the circuit and pull off, but maybe a little bit of damage from that contact with the Swedish-driven BMW. And then it was a case of people moving on up the order, and car 39 Bodan Tatu was having some great battling as well. But towards the end of the race, it was the story of the McLaren coming forward. Josh Kronberg, I beg your pardon, Josh Rattican made his moves early on, brought it in, and the big question was, he going to come out into the front of the race after his pit stop, or was the Toyota going to be there? Car number 60 had all sorts of problems today, and that was being shoveled around today onto Erdem there, and the BMW that salted him, Leandri, I think, would pick up a penalty for that. There was still incidents going on down through the field, and there the number 16 NM Mercedes, no fault of theirs, their own, shoved off the circuit, and right at the end of the race we had the Lotus spun round, but it was victory in the bag for Mackenzie Cresswell. So disappointment for the Lotus crew, Alberto Nasca there, but out of the final corner came Mackenzie Cresswell to win. 2nd place to Hadrian David in his Toyota, 3rd to the BMW of Gabriele Piana. And talking of those crews, there they are, waiting for the winners to come onto the podium. On the right hand of the screen, Gabriela Piana, Berkay Bessler, Hadrian David, and the driver who started, Jan Duran. But up onto the top step, Josh Rattican climbing up, and Mackenzie Cresswell. Victors here in race 1 at the Nürburgring. So the British national anthem for Elite Motorsport, the winning team trophy is about to be presented. Will this be the top 3 tomorrow? I think you can almost bet that it won't be, because it's very seldom that drivers get to be on the top step 2 days running. It can happen. It has happened for Robert Consani and his teammate Benjamin Lariche, but today they got nothing out of the race. They were out before the cars had got to the first corner, pulled off at the end of the lap with damage. And at the end, it was a McLaren coming through to the front, deposing the Aston Martins that had been running so strongly in the early stages of the race, having locked out the front row. So champions in 2024, winning form recovered towards the end of 2025. Can they add some more? Mackenzie Cresswell still looking as though he's had a busy afternoon, but Josh Rattican on the right of the top step has had the time to recover. He did the first part of the race. Wait for it, wait for it.
I think Piana's saying he's only got one suit. He doesn't want to spray this evening.
Exactly. So, and who's going to run away fastest? A little sort of quite careful on the podium there. Stay away from us. Of course, his own teammate listens to nothing at all. Berkay Bessler giving Piana an absolute faceful. Or maybe said, I have got a spare race suit. Make me the butt of all champagne spraying jokes. But anyhow, good to see them up on the top step. They all work really hard for the podiums here. And there is the finishing. This is the classification in the championship. Lariche and Consani still on 161 points. They started there. But at the end, 66 points behind. So still in with the championship shout. Piana and Bessler. Can they close in tomorrow? Will a few points in the bag for Lariche and Consani? That's all they need. Lock it out with 1 round still to go. Ifs and buts and maybes, but you didn't expect Lariche and Consani to get nothing at all. Mackenzie and Cresswell and Josh Rattican up into 3rd place. Overall, they've gained quite a bit of ground here. They were outside the top 6 when we came to the Nürburgring, so how things can change. And Papadopoulos, Adibenyet, they came here 4th in the championship. They remain in 4th place. Signoretti and Evans were the ones that lost out. They came here 2nd. They've fallen back to 5th. Now we're going to the podium in the Pro-Am class, and we have the crew that came home in 3rd place today, the 99 crew of Gabriela Jilkova and Cindy Goudet. They were driving one of the Matwood Evolution Toyotas. 2nd place in cars, car number 98. It's Victor Bouvet, who made the outstanding start, and Joachim Volder, but victory in the Pro-Am class. Car number 7 started from pole position, qualified there by Stanislav Safronov, and the job completed by Alexandra Weintraub. As they reported, they had a slight gearbox problem that cost them positions. They certainly squandered 3 or 4 positions when they made their pit stop, but good job done overall for them as well. And class victory in Pro-Am. So for Mirage Racing with their Aston Martin ahead of the Schubert Motorsport BMW and the Matwood Evolution Toyota, they're the top 3 in class. As they stand on the podium, already more cars herring out around the track. Super busy day here at the Nürburgring. Closest to us, Cindy Goudet, Gabriela Jilkova. Their trophies are lost. 3rd place in the Pro-Am class. And for Safronov and Weintraub, they came here 2nd in class. They gained a point by taking pole for class, but they sort of gained extra positions because the leaders in their class didn't get on the top 3 today. I talk of Joachim Bolsing and Hendrik Still, WS Motorsport Porsche. They had their battles in the race today, it's safe to say. I think they also had a time penalty at one point, 5-second time penalty, which would move them down the order, and then they had the incident at the final corner of the race. But today, it belonged to the Mirage Racing Aston Martin crew of Stanislav Safronov and Alexandra Weintraub. They're on the top step of the podium. They're spraying the champagne along with the two other pairs behind them. And the BMW crew from Schubert Motorsport looking pretty happy with life as well. Victor Bouveng and Joachim Volder as well. So let's take a look at the championship positions now. That moved Safronov and Weintraub much closer to Still and Bolting. It's now just 5 points between them. That's a big gain. Second place in the race today cements the third place in the championship for Volder and Bouveng for today. We'll see if it closes in tomorrow. JSB competition of entry of Belchamelli and Ferrarin didn't have a race that smiled on them. But Goudet and Jilkova, third in the race today, moves them closer. They've moved up to fourth place in the championship. Fifth, very close to fourth, and certainly showed really, really good form today. They may yet advance further. Have to feel for the Lotus crew of Nasca and Daste, spun out at the final corner when a 10th place probably would have seen them in podium. In fact, I think they were running third in class, so taken away from the Lotus crew, but they're still enthusiastic. They'll be back. Now, let's go to the final podium. Third place in the AM class, car number 27. That should be AV Racing's Max Huber and Roman Wozniak. Second place, did it all on his own car, number 90. Hans Holmlund for Toyota Gazoo Racing Sweden. And waiting for the winner in the AM class, car number 30, WNS Motorsport. It's Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickel. They will come out to take the top step on the podium. They came here second in the championship and have really made great gains on Anthony de Barn and Jean-Mathieu Leandri, who were in the wars a little bit in this race. Up onto the top step, hats off. So the strains of the German national anthem ebb away. WNS Motorsport taking their victory in the AM class. They had a really, really good run. And Georgie Chapman, race engineer for Pirelli, presenting the trophies. And for Max Huber on the right-hand side of the third place step, he'll be pleased. He only came into the championship this weekend and certainly stepping up nicely with the team owner Roman Wozniak of AV Racing when Mathieu Detry and Fabien Defieux, who started the season, moved on up to race in GT3, and they stepped in and took a podium today. But the winners' trophies to Daniel Blickel, closer to us, and Max Kronberg, smiles around on the top step of the podium. Job done today, all to do tomorrow. Let's see how it shakes out then, but certainly GT4 European Series never fails to entertain, and smiles on the podium follow with max escape speed, but certainly good to see enthusiasm there in the AM class. And it's been a day. And let's take a look at the AM points. I said it was going to close up. For Leandri and de Barn, 7th place today in class means their point lead is all but over, down to just 1 point ahead of today's winners, Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickel. Brunhagen third on 102 points, and Sorokin and Gatehouse, they lost a bit of ground today. But the big gain, I'll tell you what, that's it from us today from the GT4 European Series. Do join us tomorrow. We've got plenty of racing, and the Nürburgring always supplies. So just join us tomorrow. Put it in your diary. See you then.